Hello everyone, and welcome to day number 7 of your daily Chafetz Chaim. Today we will be concluding the preface to the laws of Lashon Hara. The Chafetz Chaim writes that you should not wonder that if this work is based on the Torah's laws, why then have I included as a source for many of the halachos within this work the Shari Tshuva of Rabbeinu Yonah. The Shari Tshuva, written by Rabbeinu Yonah, is a Musar book, which means that it is character development, not law-based. So if so, it would seem that that would not be appropriate to use as a source for the laws of Lashon Hara. Nevertheless, says the Chafetz Chaim, for those who learn the Rabbeinu Yonah very carefully, they will see that nothing that he writes in there is outside of the parameters of the laws, and specifically when it comes to his section about the laws of Lashon Hara. In addition, says the Chafetz Chaim, he did not rely on Rabbeinu Yonah for stringencies, but he would group the Rabbeinu Yonah together with others for stringencies. But for a leniency, he would bring Rabbeinu Yonah by himself, but otherwise he would not. He then continues to say that I know that there will be people who will learn this work of the Chafetz Chaim and not delve into it properly, and they will find ways to create leniencies that were never intended, and they will blame it on this work of the Chafetz Chaim. The Chafetz Chaim says, nevertheless, I did not refrain from writing this book that can bring so much good because of those who will use it for bad reasons. Following the advice of the sages in the Talmud and Bava Basra, in which they also said that there was something that they created, even though it was potentially going to be used for the wrong reasons and limited circumstances, but overall it was going to be used for a good use, they would implement it anyway, based on the verse that says, Ki yisharim darchei Hashem, tzadikim yelchu vam, that the ways of Hashem are proper and they are straight, and the righteous will go in them, but the wicked will stumble through them. Chafetz Chaim then says that I know that there are people who will try to downplay the importance of learning the laws of Lashon Hara because they are so difficult, and everybody eventually will end up violating them at some time or another. And therefore we should employ the dictum that our sages tell us of mutav sheyu shagigin va'al yiyu mezidim. Better that those who violate should do so without knowing, rather than to know what you're doing and still violate, meaning doing it on purpose. So the Chafetz Chaim says this is untrue in this case for multiple reasons. First of all, because that rule only applies to things which are not explicit in the Torah, but the laws of Lashon Hara are definitely explicit in the Torah. And secondly, he says because there's many halachos that people do fail in from time to time, and nevertheless we learn them. The laws of monetary law of stealing are also, they're extremely broad, and nevertheless we learn them even though people will stumble from time to time. The laws of Shabbos are also extremely broad and far-reaching, and people will stumble in them from time to time, and nevertheless we learn them. So obviously using this methodology of it is better that we not know what we're doing and violate than know what we're doing and violate is not the case. And furthermore, we find that our sages have taught us in many places about the details of the laws of Lashon Hara, and why would they do that if they wanted us to simply be ignorant of them? And the pasuk itself, the verse tells us that Hashem says, Zachar, es asher asa Hashem lekecha leMiriam, remember daily what Hashem did to Miriam when she spoke Lashon Hara and how she was punished. So the Ramban tells us that we see from there that the Torah wants us to remember and remind ourselves daily, verbally, that we need to be careful with Lashon Hara. So obviously the Torah here is telling us, don't ignore this and think that you're better off being ignorant. On the contrary, we have to do everything we can to become well-learned and well-versed in the laws of Lashon Hara. And in addition, the Chafetz Chaim says there is another major advantage to learning these laws, and that is that by learning them, putting in the effort to understand and at least stopping the Lashon Hara that we are saying, then we will exclude ourselves from a terrible group of people to whom they give no regard to the laws of Lashon Hara. And that group is the group about whom our sages have told us that the sins that they commit are worse than the three cardinal sins. And there are many other punishments that are listed for people like that who don't even make any effort. They do not accept the Shekhinah when it comes to greet us, etc., and other things like that. And therefore, it is very important that we all do our best to learn these laws and make an effort to improve when it comes to proper speech.